Hello buddies, in this video I will show you my new songblade bard builds for single target like the big trials like Zariel or Tom. So I got a lot of requests to show my new build because there was a lot that changed since the first bard video, so I will show you. So just a little disclaimer, the gear didn't really change much. Yeah, certain pieces like switch around and stuff, but the gear is always kind of the same. So I will go over it really quickly because the main part on the board are the powers. The powers and the interaction on the powers is like the biggest part of your DPS. So I'm gonna just spend a little time explaining the gear, and after that I will just go towards the powers and how to interact and how to maximize your damage. So let's go. So for the first thing, all my 3 slots are the unpowered forger box. I don't have it mythic, but I need to farm. The hawk, which I don't really use because the animation is kind of chunky, it's a bit strange, and a stone of health, of course. So let's go for the buffs. The buffs I use the old watermelon sorbet. You can use any kind of consumable that you have, but since I have tons of them that I don't think I will run out soon, I use them myself. I use the Flask of Potency, Sunlord's Gift Elixir, and an Invocation Blessing whenever I want, and a Diamond's Blessing if I'm really with big DPSs and I want to compete a bit more. So for the gear, it's the same, Goristro, Horn, and Overload. It's the Devil's Precision and the Rage of Flame, and I have accuracy on it, so I would go over it quickly. Eclipse, Tactical, Accuracy, Bone Ribcage, Spike Defender, Prevent Brace. Like, this gear is not like mandatory. You can play with anything you want. If you don't have the chest, you can play with anything. It's just my gear. Main hand, Masterwork, and the Bronze, the Bile Thorn, and I use the Staccato modification. Offhand, Power, Recharge Speed, Tactical in defense and Assassins in most offensive slots, and the Wasted Wanderers, and of course triple 1000 item level artifacts, and any kind of debuff artifacts that you want is an open slot. And the new Demogorgon set, it's the best for the bard in my opinion because our daily doesn't come around really fast, even though I will show you a technique later that maybe prove me wrong, but I was testing it just today, so I'm kind of new with this new AP generation. And on it I have combat advantage and Azor Assassins. And for the ring, 30% more melee, black ice in both offensive slots, combat advantage, ring of band of air, of course, it's like the best. Combat advantage, assassin tactical. The other piece of Demogorgon, and a niche kind of shirt with Tenebrous, and the pants with some awareness. So my stats are looking like that. Oh yeah, that's something I forgot always. I use strength and charisma almost on everything. So now the main page is over, so I will explain the powers later. So for this boon page, you can basically check it, copy paste, I don't know if you want. I use accuracy, the awareness, and the revive sickness if you want. It's really not necessary. And for the companion, that's something that may differ from others, because today we just got a big patch that basically nerfed all the good DPS companions, so people are in the void now. So my approach is to go towards debuff or buffs companions. So my choice is the Tutor. The Tutor has a power that gives everybody in the party 5% more combat advantage, this one. So it gives, like, if we are in a trial, because this build is basically only for trials, because that's the only thing I'm doing on Bard these days, just trials. Give 5% more combat advantage to everyone. And as you can see, it's not mythic. And that's the only reason is because we did some speedruns and I was the guy that was running Legendary Armor Break, because Legendary Armor Break stacks with Mythic Armor Break. And you get the legendary one because your companion is legendary. You get the mythic one if your companion is mythic. It just follows the quality, rarity of your companion. So that's why it's mythic, so I'm losing 1000 item level. But we get a good armor breaks stack. If you don't have like legendary tutor or you have just the mythic one, it works. You can just play with the mythic one and play with any kind of like individual buffing capacity, like combat advantage and stuff. For the companion gear, I use like the 1300 ones, the accuracy, and I use offensive, unpowered for the runestones, 2 there, again 2 there, and profane and enigmatic. I kind of gave up with the indomitables because now your companion doesn't do damage. So I kind of just went the route of just giving you more stats. But if one day there's a new companion that shines over all the others, I might go back to the indoms. But for now, I don't see a point really, especially when I play with a debuff companion. So for the companions, I use the Battery. It's good for bosses, Minsk in defense. The universal, it's just I try to get the most combat advantage that I can. It's pretty hard. With this build, I managed to hit 85%, so that's pretty good. And 83% crit, 90% crit save, 66% accuracy, and 90% power. So for the mounts, the swarm, ferocity. The swarm, you can play it, you can use a toad, but I find the 15% more damage really strong on the board, especially since you don't really need, especially since your encounters are doing as much magnitude as a toad. I will show you later how we do that. And ferocity, just to get more procs out of a band of air. And for the mount, I use all mythics, again, all the slots that can put a skill insignia, there's a skill insignia, and all the other slots have brutality. So I use a 2 Assassin's Covenant, 1 Shepherd's Devotion, 1 Artificer's Persuasion, and 1 Gladiator's Guile. Again, I gave up the Warlord's Inspiration because my companion doesn't do any damage. So for the people that were against the companion era, where they said that only our companion was doing damage, now the companions don't do damage, so you have nothing to cry about now. So for the colors, it's just the all same 5 colors: Astral Diamonds, Stamina Gain, Movement Speed, Critical Severity, and Encounter Powers. So that's pretty much all the powers, all the gear that I'm using. And I switch back to Human because it gives 1% stats and everything, and I think that's just the best overall. But I see a lot of people liking the other races like the Gith or the Wood Elf, I believe, for the crit. So it's just your choice. So now that I explained everything, let's go over the big part, the powers. On the board, you need to understand something. It's not for nothing that I'm calling myself Big Buggy now. Because Bard is a bug, is a big bug. Like everything is a bug on the Bard. So that's a big part that you will do damage a lot, and I just learned it recently. So for this part, I would like to thank a certain guy on Discord named Kiane that was on the Bard Discord, and he kind of showed me a really strong way of playing Bard that I was not playing before. Like I was doing some really good stuff with the Bard, don't get me wrong, but with this new kind of way to play it, it's just crazy. It just relies on so many bugs that it just is so funny. So let's start. For the at will, there's staccato and con elemento. For this part, everything is fine. There's no bug. If you do a song, you get the different stuff, but like it just works with the songs, and staccato is your big at will. You just basically only spam it. For the encounters now, I use a dancing light. Dancing light is the first bug, because when we do the dancing light, the improvised version, because I play with with performer. If I do the improvised version, instead of doing the 50% of the normal damage as the other encounters do, it does 33%. So it kind of do less damage with the improvised version than the other improvised version of the other encounters. So that's the first bug that Bard has, but it's a pretty small bug, let's say. So for the second encounter, the ad libitum, it's the second bug that the Bard has. First of all, ad libitum has a 50% chance to allow you to use the ability again immediately. This effect may not trigger more than 3 times. But the thing is, since I don't play with redoublement anymore, if I use ad libitum, if I get a 50% hit, if I like do an encounter, then the improvised version will be the second hit will not be the full strength ad libitum, it will be the improvised version. So even if it says that you have 50% chance to like reapply a 400 magnitude, it's just the improvised version, so it's just 200 magnitude even if you don't have the improvised version. So that's the second bug. It's kind of sad sometimes when we think that we are getting lucky with the 50% chance and we see that it just does improvised version damage. Okay, so I think I will go over so we are only at 2 bugs now. We'll do the third encounter. The Contray doesn't have a bug by itself, but it has a bug overall. So Contray, basically, if you do it immediately, you do 200 physical damage to everyone around you. So it's like an AoE if you just use it right away. If you wait 1 second of charge time, like I would show you, like 1 second until it says Contray Septium, you just do it and it does a 600 magnitude. But I will explain it why I play with it now, because just 600 magnitude to wait for 1 second doesn't seem that fun. But you will see all the crazy interactions that are on the Bard. For the daily, for the let's say the third bug, Encore doesn't work on a Ballad of the Hero. So if you want to do like two ballads of the hero, it doesn't work. So Encore is pretty much not really useful, I would say. So I would use Inspiration if you prefer to like boost your damage and another allies damage, or you can use Lore if you want to just boost everyone overall. In my speedruns I was using Lore, but I would say that maybe for like non-speedrun groups I will run Inspiration just to boost a bit more my DPS. Hehehe. So for the class feature, we have Mystifying Strikes. That's the fourth bug, because Mystifying Strike does 400 magnitude, yet it has a 5% chance to apply, and the player that triggers it like pops the 400 magnitude and heals himself for 400. But the thing is with Mystifying Strikes is that it can proc multiple times on one Mystify. So basically, if you have like 15 allies, like companions included, like 10 friends or 9 friends plus their companions, and they attack at the exact same time that Mystifying Strike is applied to their target, it will proc the number of times. So you have the number of attacks that the target had. So if 10 people attacked at the same time, it will proc 10 times. So instead of doing a 400 magnitude, it will be a 4000 magnitude. So if you are lucky and it applies like 5%, and you do like 4000 magnitude, and it reapplies again right away because you just won the lottery with another 5%, and it reapplies again, you can boost your damage by a lot for almost nothing, for no reason, for just using a class feature. You can see in my older videos that I showed some crazy Bard DPS, like just with Mystifying Strikes, that one time it did 52 million in 3 Mystifying Strikes in a row. Like the sum of it does 52. It was like 40, 19, and like 22, something like that, millions. So that's like, if they patch it one day, it will be a solid hit on the damage. But that's a really, really good class feature to play. And the other one is masterful performance. Masterful performance works really well with the fifth bug. Are we at fifth now? I'm not sure, but it works really well with the fifth bug that I will explain to you. So now that I explained this, I will just explain the feats. So basically the first one doesn't really matter. You can play with voice, throw, or backup performer, but you don't really use reinvigorating carol. You just use any song, so the tank one is better. Second one, elemental medley. On the first video I was using Battlefield Ostinato, but with this build that I will show you, or the pre-stack mechanic, elemental medley is by far the better one. It does like every time you do, you use like a song and then change the con elemento to another at will, and you attack the target with this at will, it will give you 10 magnitude on all of your attacks for 60 seconds, and it can stack up 3 times. So with this, if you apply the first stack and it tick down to 10 seconds, and you apply the second stack, it goes up to 60 seconds. So it doesn't it's not individual stacking. Like each stack doesn't have an individual cooldown. So if you pop the second stack, it just goes up to 60 seconds, even on the first one. So you get 2 full stacks for 60 seconds, and same thing with the third one. If it procs, you go back to 60 seconds for all 3 stacks. But if you do the fourth one, it doesn't refresh. It just tick down until it hit 0, and you need to reapply them again, basically. Edu. Before I was playing with Ballade Voce, but with this interaction that I will show you, you will understand that I don't use Ballad of the Hero anymore, or it's really hard to plug Ballad of the Hero in this rotation that I will show you. So I use Edu. It just boosts one ally, gives them 10%, just one ally, and some damage reduction. So it's pretty good for just one person, a lucky person that is closest to me. And then I use a martial performance, because redoublement doesn't really do much. I mean, yeah, you can use ad libitum and just do another encounters, but with just the bug with redoublement that just does improvised damage instead of the full damage when you hit the 50% chance, it's kind of bad using that. So martial performance is better, especially with this build. And finally, the performer is just really good overall. You just spam everything. So now I will explain you how to do massive damage on the board. So basically, if you I will show you the pre-stack. Like if I am about to go into a trial, and so I say my team, oh, let me just pre-stack. And now I don't have any potion, so I don't know if it would matter. But what I do is that I just use a song first. I will use like any song that you want. If it's Tailwind Mambo, Tailwind Mambo here, or Steel March. So you use one of the two on the first step. So now you just summon a dummy, you attack. So now you get 1 stack of damage bonus from elemental songs is increased elemental medley. So you get 1 stack. After that, you just do the other one, the Steel March. For me, you can do the reverse, it doesn't matter. You summon a dummy, you attack. So you get 2 elemental medley. So that's all you need to do. And now if you don't pop the third one, because if you pop the third one, you cannot like pop a fourth one to refresh it. So you will need to do the third one on the boss when you arrive in the area to pop the third one. And also when you go into the area, you will do a song on the boss and you will proc martial performance. So basically now you will see the song stacking mechanic. So now that we have 2, you need to, like, you don't need to have a 2 elemental medley, but all you need to do is to do a song. Like, it must be Tailwind Mambo or Steel March. Blaze Flamenco is not bugged, I will say, so you need to do it last. So now you use a song. You leave any kind of instance. So now the game will forget that you did a song, but the cooldown will still be there. So now you can do a second song, and I do still march. So now you can see I have two little timer, and if I just leave the instance again and I just go back in, I can use the third elemental song. So now I have three elemental songs. If you want to go crazy, you can pop Ballade the Hero, do a daily like encore, and you have 5 songs. But just with 3, it's enough. So now that you have 3 songs, you are ultimate god mode. So now you just summon a boss and you do 4 times your normal damage. 4 times. Just because you have 3 songs, because let's see in the chat log. If I use this and 1 ad libitum, you can see in the log that my powers procced multiple times because of the elemental song. So let's go back up. I did 1 on counter, I believe. So staccato should have procced 3 times. Staccato procced 3 times on each at will. So if I do 20k on 1, just do times 3. So basically, staccato, instead of being an 80 magnitude, it becomes a 240 magnitude hit, because it does 3 separate hits. And it's the same thing with, like, I don't have any songs right now. I don't have the 3 songs because they expired. But let's go back up. It's probably too far. But if I just redo the thing really quickly, it's something that you will need to practice. Like, you just do a song, you wait for the 72 to show up. If you leave the instance before it appears, you just don't get the song. Same thing, you wait for the 72 seconds to appear, you go back in, and you do another thing like that. And just for this testing, I will unsummon my tutor because I don't want to see him. So I just use Dancing Light. It does 379, but if you go into the logs, it procced how many times? 1, 2, 3. It procced 3 times, just with 1. But is it 3 or 4? I thought it was 4, but we can say that it's 3. But 3 or 4, it's not that terrible. So basically, you do, with 700 magnitude, you do a 2100 magnitude on 1 encounter. And basically, ad libitum, it's the same. You do 1 ad libitum, and it procced, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. It procs 4 times. So instead of being a 400 magnitude, it becomes a 1600 magnitude. And for the last one, the big one, it's country. Like, I mean, I think you saw the principle. I will not go stacking the songs again. But for the country, it does 600 magnitude if you wait 1 second, times 4, so it does 240 magnitude. 2400 magnitude, sorry. So it's really, really strong on counters, and that's why the part is really broken. So you basically have a 2100 magnitude, a 1600 magnitude, and a 2400 magnitude on counters. And you can spam them like with half the efficiency with performer. So this becomes like 1000 magnitude just with performer. This becomes a 800 magnitude, and this becomes a 1200 magnitude. So you can see the craziness in all of that. And another fun fact is that I just learned today, because of the guy Kiane in Discord. Go check the Discord, there's a lot of information. And if you just wait, like right now I'm in combat, if you just wait the 3 seconds on country, it gives back an insane amount of AP. So basically I would just do a song. I will attack the boss from a distance just to proc the improvised version on country. And now I'm casting it, check the AP gain. Pew! And now again, 3 seconds, and pew! So it gives a massive amount of AP back. I just learned that today, otherwise I would have done it during the speed runs to regen my AP between fights, but I didn't know that we could do that until today. So now it's really crazy that it works like that. So yeah, basically that's the full rotation. So you can see that there's a ton of bug. Oh, and also I will show you a little bit like interaction with masterful performance. Like it does 50% more effectiveness on Blaze Flamenco, Still March, and Tailwind's added effect. So basically, that's why I'm playing with the other feats. Partial performance adds 10 magnitude if I hit the target with my song. And Elemental Medley adds another 30. So basically, you have 40 extra magnitude on your songs, on one song, basically. And just with the base song, you have a 20 like additional magnitude. So you have 60 magnitude if you pop a song just by having 3 medley, 1 martial performance, and 1 song. And what this thing does is it adds another 50%. So instead of 60 magnitude, it's 90 magnitude. Like the half of 60 is 30. So we just add them together. It's 90 magnitude on every single attacks. And it also gives like the percentage, like 2%, like it's 3% with this class feature to all the allies and yourself. So, and more if they do physical damage. So if you do 90 magnitude, it's on all 3 elemental songs. Like you saw earlier that there's 3 separate hit, and each of those hit benefits from the 90 magnitude. So you can see that this becomes crazy high numbers with a lot of bugs. I'm not even sure like how many bugs that we are up to now. And so I will show you the last thing that I want to show you. I don't know if I forgot something, but that's all the things that popped in my mind at the moment. So let's do the pre-stack technique. So basically, if you are in the boss fight and your songs are about to run out, I just learned that today again. I just do second song and I re-enter the instance. So now the game forgot that I played 2 songs, but there are still songs there. And if I just use a third one, and let's say that my other 2 songs are about to expire, what I can do is to just refresh them. Just because I switch instance, it just forgot that the game forgot that I played a song. So now I just refresh Tailwind Mambo. So now it went up from 40 seconds to 72 seconds. But the other song called Blaze Flamenco just disappeared because I did another song and it didn't like it. So, but I can also refresh the other song without any songs disappearing. So now Still March just refreshed. And if I want to refresh Telba Mambo, it refresh. That's as simply as that. So that means that instead of getting 3 hits, like by having 3 encounters, I have 2 hits on everything. So, and if I'm satisfied with the cooldown on each of them, I can just use a third song in the instance and I get 3 songs. So it's just a balance of your performance, the cooldown of your song, and if your other 2 songs like Tailwind Mambo and Still March are out, there's no way to get 3 songs again. If you are in the instance, you need to really leave the instance and do the stacking technique. But I can just refresh one, it just makes Flamenco disappear. I can refresh the second one and it just refresh and refresh and refresh. So basically you get like really high magnitude encounters for just songs that are not supposed to be used together. So that's kind of a real fun thing to do. So if you want to see like real combat interaction, you can watch my other videos that I showcase basically my gameplay on the board. There's tons of them. Maybe people are tired to see how much videos there are about just doing DPS on the board, but there's tons of content to check out if you are wondering how to play the board in combat and when to use the songs and when to do stuff. So I forgot, I hope I didn't forget anything that I learned on the board thanks to Discord once again, because I was just asking questions on Discord, and there's some people that I never saw that just came out of nowhere, just knowing so much stuff about the board that I learned a lot myself. So that's not really like, this build is kind of my build, but also the techniques that are around it, which is the most important part, is not mine. It's just Kiane, basically. I don't know if Kiane had a master, but he was the one that really taught me everything, like the multiple song stacking. So I hope you liked the video. If you liked it, you can follow or subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will make an update video whenever I can learn more and more about the buggy stuff on the board, and if one day they will maybe fix some of the stuff on the board. But at the moment, there's not a lot of bards on the game, not a lot of good ones, and not a lot of people that knows how to play it. So it's kind of like pretty low on the priority list on Cryptic, like to fix some bard stuff, because no one is playing it, so why bother fix stuff for nobody. So yeah, that was the build, and see you in another video. So bye bye buddies.